is what we'll cover a bit later. Now let me just show the spawn chunks. So this is the tunnel that I blew up with TNT at the beginning of the previous episode. Oh, there was a row of cobble missing. And yeah, I decorated it a little bit, just to make it look nice. These are the iron farms here, nothing really special. The iron is collecting really slowly. And I'm like taking it out because I need hoppers all the time, even though I'm really not using that many hoppers. I'm using minecarts and like water streams wherever possible, but still some hoppers are needed, and that's like munching up all my iron. So yeah, these are the spawn chunks. As you can see, I cleared up quite a bit of area. There's one of my 2 beacons that I have active at this moment. One is in the mesa that I found, you'll see that later. One's here just to help me, clean stone with haste. For the dirt, I use TNT a lot and stuff. I'm still in 1.8, so I don't have mending. Can't wait for mending to help me with like saving my diamonds. So yeah, here you can see a piston that goes down, and that's a part of the Obsidian farm story, and that I'll start telling right now, I guess. So in order to get Obsidian farmed in 1.8, you have to shoot like snowballs or some kind of entities through the end portal, so it refreshes the Obsidian platform, and then you use a wither to break blocks and get the obsidian out of it. But the problem is that the player cannot be in 2 dimensions at the same time. In multiplayer this is trivial, you just have one player in the overworld AFKing and one player in the end AFKing, and then everything's loaded, everything works, so you can farm your obsidian. But in single player it's a bit harder. You have to load the overworld remotely, and then you have so the machine in the overworld is working and shooting snowballs into the end, but you have to AFK in the end. So there's a problem on how to load chunks that are in the overworld while the player is in the end. And the solution is in a bug, I guess. I guess it's a bug that's test the famous bug finder, exploit finder, first pointed out, I think, and that is if you shoot an arrow into a slab and then like delete the slab, its location gets set to not a number, so it gets automatically transported to 0, 0 and loads those chunks. So basically what I did, I loaded a 5x5 grid of chunks around 0, 0. Then I loaded a 5x5 grid of chunks around my stronghold area, around my end portal. And that's what, and then I connected 0, 0 to spawn chunks. So the spawn chunks were loading 0, 0, and that arrow in the 0, 0 was loading the stronghold area. Something like that. I hope I haven't, I hope I made myself clear. It's very finicky, and it was quite a large project. I did that over the summer, and it required, a lot of backups of the world, where I used commands in order to check if the proper areas are loaded and stuff like that. So that line that you saw in spawn chunks comes up here all the way 1,000 blocks away, basically, in the stronghold. I wired it, of course, on the diamond level. So let me just take this silk touch shovel on the diamond level, so I mined some diamonds on the way. I used pistons and redstone blocks for repeaters, don't ask me why. I just find it sexy. So it's basically an insta wire, so all the pistons depower at the same time, and this was intended to be used for activating the actual Obsidian farm, but I later found out that it's not really necessary, that you can, because I was concerned that after I activate the machine here, then I jump into the end, the wither would get me, but then I kind of figure out a way to escape the wither using ender pearls, so this whole connection to the spawn chest was not needed. The idea was that I would go to the end, then throw an item back to the overworld, and when that item was detected in spawn chunks, it would send a signal all the way to here, 1000 blocks, and activate the snowball dispenser that's here. So these hoppers are full of snowballs. There's a snow grinder up there, and this is just a clock, and we have a dropper here that drops snowballs into the end, and that's what refreshes the Obsidian platform. Yep, so basically that's all the technology that there's to Obsidian farm on this side, at least. Let me just show you the snow grinder for a second. It's just like Ilmango's distribution system with 2 snowmans on top. Pretty standard. So I was just digging here until all the chests filled up. The chests are between here and down there. You can see there's a whole tower of chests for snowballs. And then it ends up down here. So yeah, we shoot the snowballs to the end, and let's now go there. Of course, I removed the wither after the farming session because it's really unsafe to keep him if there is no bedrock to keep him in. So it was a wither cage, but it was a non-bedrock wither cage. I had a villager up there, and there's a witch, a named witch there, and it's a witch because it needs to heal, because from time to time the wither will actually manage to hit it. But up here is snow golem. It could be a villager also. So yeah, this kept the wither trapped. Also, where the snow blocks are, I had water sources, and this kept the wither in the middle. So here we have a cobble generator that pushes cobble down. So the cobble gets like to here, and then when the platform refreshes, this cobble disappears, and you can see now the machine started working again. And yeah, as soon as the cobble disappears, this dispenser shoots a snowball into the wither, and that's how we damage the wither and make him break blocks. So if we take a look at the machine from the lower side, it's just some water collection systems. So firstly we filter out the snowballs that come from the overworld, and then the snowballs use that water stream down here. So you can see here I use water streams everywhere, absolutely minimizing the use of hoppers. So snowballs would get down there, and then through this glass elevator up into that dispenser. So snowballs were actually consumed, so I had to make a lot of them to start with, not to run out, but I haven't run out. It turns out you don't really need that much, but you really don't want to run out in the middle of an obsidian farming session, because then you have the wither problems and everything. So the remaining obsidian was just sent to here, aligned with the ender chest, and picked up by these hoppers. And as you can probably guess, this is AFK. I think it was for a night, or maybe for 2. The obsidian farm ended up being pretty stable. I was able to log out, log in. The only thing that the logout broke was the chunk loading in the overworld, so I had to go back to the overworld and then back here again just to reload everything. But if I survived the encounter with the wither here, which I usually did because I found a pretty steady way, just ender pearled at the specific spot just to escape, and I had my armor and everything, of course. So yeah, the farm ended up being pretty stable. It's designed by Macromech the same farm that we used on our multiplayer server. There's a video about that also on my channel. So yeah, I just AFK'd until all these chests were filled. There was some obsidian here also, but I already took it because I wanted to do a nether portal gold farm, which turned out to be a bad idea. So basically, yes, that's my obsidian, and yeah, I killed the wither, and in 1.9 and higher there's no more obsidian farming like this, because you have to be, the entity has to be a player in order for the obsidian platform to refresh. So yeah, I decided to farm up, like there's like 50 to 60 double chests of obsidian there, and yeah, I'll just use that. I mean, it will last me forever. I won't need another supply anytime soon. So now let's go back to the overworld. So here is the former Ender Dragon XP farm that got me so many books. I have like 10 double chests of enchanted books throughout my world. So yeah, this is the actual location where the dragon was trapped in his dying sequence, and this ice was used to transport the XP to the player. So now God knows where we will end up. I can't really remember where I slept the last time. That's actually perfect. We're in our starting base, because I figured out I forgot to show you something here as well that I constructed just like the other day. 2 days ago, actually. Oh my god, this elevator still needs fixing. It's like this from the episode 1. Oh, excuse me. I had to cough. So yeah, the project that I made here is a very simple ice farm. I just wanted to show this really quickly. And